Welcome back to the channel. My name is Brad and Supercoach Pro. In today's video, we're doing a round 19 Supercoach preview. So, what to do with Dusty? I'm just going to put it pretty quick and pretty simple. So, if you have the money, you obviously go Dangerfield. Next option would probably be Zorko. And then number 3, if you had the money, would be Charlie Dixon, in my opinion. If you wanted to play safe, you'd go Bailey Dale. If you wanted a bit of a smoky, you'd probably go DeGoey. And if you wanted a real smoky, you'd probably go for someone like Franklin. All these players have risks. I'll go through the risks, but I think there's about 7 or 8 players you could pick, and they'll all be pretty good for that run home. So it's just a matter of maybe it's to do with your leagues. If you need a point of difference in, a player with a higher ceiling, you do that. If your team's already pretty set, maybe you just look for a guy that's got the consistency. So we'll get stuck into the side for the preview. We'll do my vice captain, captain option, some footy tips, all that stuff. And I'll try to get this one pretty quickly because the game is starting about an hour and a half. So, Zorko, I think he's a decent pick. He doesn't have a bad run at all coming home. I think Brisbane have probably the easiest fixture on paper. He's got Gold Coast, Hawthorn, Fremantle, Collingwood, and West Coast. So he hasn't been in that great form in the last 3 weeks. Only 99, 109, 74. I'm not too sure why the drop-off is there. Probably Lachie Neale factor. He's an older player too, Zorko. So it's only so long you can be pumping out these scores without getting tired. So he's not a bad option at all for that money. Obviously, I'd prefer Dangerfield if I had the coin. Dunkley and Marshall wouldn't look at anymore because they're got that COVID isolation protocol they've got to do, which is unfortunate because I'm going to cop another 0 from Mills and Green. Won't get any premium scores from them, so that's fantastic COVID. So this is your last 3 weeks. Danger, 184, 97, and 134. He's got those opponents coming up. So, yeah, well, he's a no-brainer for me if I had the coin. Bailey Dale is your safe bets. If you've got a team, like I said, that's already got pretty high scoring side and you don't really need a risk, this would be your safe guy. Probably average about 95, which is what his season average just about is. His fixture's a bit tougher than these other guys, but it means it will be in the back half where he takes his kick out. So that's probably better for him because it means more shots on goal, more misses, meaning him more cheap possessions. In terms of percentage, obviously, if you don't have Zeeble, he'd be the guy if you wanted to just run with the crowd. Everyone has him. Hall's the one you probably should go for he's not such a pod now, but he's probably the most consistent scorer at 540 odd grams. If you're using your midfield DPP, I'd probably go for someone like Cam Guthrie. But look, Hall, since I brought him in, I think he's done 113 onwards. Only dropped at under 100 once. So he's one of your more consistent players. I like him better than DeGoey. Hind is not someone I'm interested into. I just think he doesn't got the ceiling of these other blokes. A few stinkers in there too. So not someone I'd even look at, to be honest. Charlie Dixon's probably the best pod. He's got a good fixture, probably scored really well tonight too, you'd think. Some of these games are niggly games that he's had sort of a little bit of an injury. Nothing major, but I think he can go big on the way home. He's got Collingwood, Giants, Adelaide, Carlton and Dogs. So I'll probably like that pick as my pod pick. He'd be one to look at. Now, if you don't have the money, it's out of Bolton and Tarrant Thomas. Look, I'm sure you guys have seen enough videos about Bolton. Now, as a Tigers supporter, I'm just going to say he's going to get the most midfield time in that team, especially that we still don't have Prestia yet. These couple of games were due to his wrist fracture. Now, in boxing, I've done a similar thing. And that took me a couple of weeks to recover. So that's why I assume it must have been a bit sore for a while. I know mine took about 4 weeks for it to really heal and feel much better. I think Bolton's your best pick for unders if you don't have any cash saved up in the bank. Jake Stringer, I don't really like the pick. He was on 40 at three-quarter time, and he kicked 2 or 3 late goals in that fourth quarter, got to 108. Had a calf problem at the start of the season, missed a few games for that, so he's a little bit risky for me. Franklin's also a bit risky. He's probably got the highest ceiling out of all these options. But if I was to pick a key forward, it'd be Dixon or Hawkins. I always forget to speak about Hawkins as well, because Hawkins is in my side, so he's also got a good fixture. So look, he's got Freo, Essendon, St Kilda, North, and Gold Coast. Does Buddy? So he's almost at 1,000 goals. So you know they'll be feeding him the ball, those Sydney midfielders. Side bottom, I don't like that pick. De Goey's taking his role in the midfield. He's getting less centre bounces. They're giving him to Penderbury and blokes like that. McRae might even get some tonight if you have McRae as cover. Not a bad option. It's his first full game in weeks. So good on Harvey for doing that. And look, there's not too many other good players. Obviously, De Goey, he has a court case coming up, so I'm definitely not picking him. I think his court case is in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. I love his scoring, but the fact that he could miss a couple games or miss the rest of the season due to his court case is too risky for me. Also, if Jamie Elliott goes down, he goes to the forward line. That's 100% certain. Heaney, if you're going for a real budget option and you're trying to make cash, not a bad pick. He's probably more of an 85 average from out here. He's your desperate sort of pick. Also very injury risky. I would have said Harry Mackay, but he's out of the side, so he's 330k. He's not playing this week in Mackay. But Heaney's last 3, 80, 95, 86. He was actually playing a little bit of half-back last week against that Giants game, so that was really strange. I don't know why they moved him there. And in Footy Fan said he had hammy awareness or something, so really strange one there. But he's got a good fixture coming up if you really need somebody to get cash from. I'm just going to do Bolton, simple as that. I watched all our games, a bit of an excitement pick. I want to use the Bolton pick purely because I bank money, and it means if I use my last trade on someone and I've got 120,000 cash and someone goes down like an Oliver and say they lose 80 grand, at least I can actually go up and not have to grab someone at 450,000 and pick an absolute spud for the last 3 weeks on the way home. So that's my choice, but I won't be doing this until the 30 minutes before the game in case there's some weird laid out. If there is, I'll have to pick Isaac Smith, and if Isaac Smith is laid out for whatever crazy COVID reason, it'd have to be, unfortunately, Stringer. So they're the options there. McRae's the interesting one too. It was a little bit tempted. I could have put McRae there tonight and just save the Martin trade in case I have someone injured over the next, 48 hours, 72 hours and do a double trade. I could do that. But Bolton just saves me the cash as well anyway, so I don't really have to. Penderbury is my emergency tonight. Josh Kelly's probably going to be laid out anyway, so I'm probably going to have to use it there. But if Penderbury hypothetically does well tonight, obviously I'll just do something as simple as that, and I'll put Newcombe on and get Penderbury's score after that Hawthorn game's done. And if Kelly is named and doesn't get laid out, then, well, that's on me. And, I've played Bramble there because I think Bramble will do well against Adelaide, but Scrimshaw and Hardwick come back. So it means they might take a few points off him in that back line because they take kickouts and Bramble's been taking kickouts too. So just a thought there. It is a bit of a random one, but, yeah, you've just got to be aware of these situations. So to sum it up, if you have the coin, you go Dangerfield, Zorko and Charlie Dixon, in my opinion. If you don't have the coin, you go Tarrant Thomas, which I didn't really look at his numbers. Matthew Kennedy from Carlton's another one, or Bolton. But I think Bolton's the safest out of those 3 picks. And the DPP factor, considering I can go Bolton and McRae back and forth, is still really handy, especially this time of year. Mills owners like myself who have Green as well, a bit unfortunate because we're using Spud Bianco and another Spud in Waitman. So, although I'm saying that Waitman outscored Norton. If you do want a cheap forward, So I don't know what just happened to there. My team, it went into KFC. I accidentally pressed that button. But Norton's not a bad one. So I know I did pick him up and he's done nothing for me ever since. But if you actually look at his scoring history before I brought him in, before he got concussed and before he just butted up against Gold Coast and was absolute nowhere inside of the ball, these are his scores. Forget about the 64, but you got 112, 95, 110, 73, 76, 71, 72. So had a month of 70s. Then he went 98, 90, 76, 81, got injured there, 108. I bring him in, gets concussed, 31 there off 78-minute game time. I think that's when he got injured, concussion. And then 31 points for 75 minutes and he wasn't injured. So if you actually do it by score order, I've actually picked him for his lowest score. So that's fantastic. But he's got really consistent scoring, probably a bit of a smoky. His next 5 opponents, Melbourne, Adelaide, Essendon, Hawthorn, Port Adelaide. Not a bad, cheap player if you really need one there to cover a player for the week like me. So I think that is most of the video covered. Vice captain and captain option has to be Walsh. He scored 140 against North Melbourne last week. Against 193 against Carlton, and he scored... Oh man, I'm losing it. He scored 193 against Collingwood, and he scored 140 against North Melbourne last year, is what I'm trying to say. And Jackie Steele has to be the captain. His numbers in the last 5 weeks, look at that. 126, 132, 154, 149, 145. Look, his last 3 aren't great against West Coast. Same with Carlton or Sydney, but he's been a tagger for most of his career. So these numbers are pretty new to him. Last year was his first sort of free roll at it. And at the start of the season, I didn't think it was going to be this good. I only jumped in on him at 563k because it was a bargain for what he was doing. And then since I bought him in, he's just gone nuts. I think this is when I bought him in. Round 11, just before that North match, this is what he's done for me. Before that, he was only averaging 112. Now he's averaging 124. So that was a great steal. So no point picking Mills, Green, Marshall, or I forgot the other player, Dunkley, because obviously they're all COVID outs this week. So it means there'll be a lot of teams fielding extra rookies like myself and other coaches. Hopefully it doesn't kill your rank too much. I lost about 500 ranks or 600 ranks weekend just gone. So hopefully I can crack into the top 1,000 and stay in that top 500 like I have been most of the season between the 300 and 700. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below on the channel. I'll get back to them as soon as I can. Anyway, that's enough for my video, and I'll see you guys on the Sunday night preview or the Monday one. Have a good weekend, and I'll catch you later.